Okay, we are live. So this is special session today, 2 in 1 day, live streams. And tonight we're talking about Wake Forest. So I don't know if you guys saw the blog recently that was just posted on Real Tour Experience, NC and Play, and Real Tour Experience. Go check out their website. We have blogs about all the different suburbs. And we just launched the blog on Wake Forest, and more suburbs are coming. So we're going to do this with each separate suburb of Raleigh, explain all the areas, what makes it special. So I'm here talking tonight because I am a real estate agent, born and raised in the Raleigh area. I grew up in Cary. I chose Wake Forest as my home. So it's where my family lives. I choose to raise my family. So I just wanted to share some stuff about the Wake Forest area. And then Laura as well wanted to join today because she calls Wake Forest home as well. So Laura, do you want to intro yourself?
Yeah, I'm Laura Harris, also with the W Group, and I've been in the Triangle for 17 years now and kind of lived a little bit all over. I did not grow up here, but I just hit the halfway point, so this is home now. And I've also been in Wake Forest for about the past 4 years, and I absolutely love it. So, I'm a little partial to it, but, also some things I'm sure we'll get into about quality of life and just depending on what you're looking for, it's just the best fit for me right now. So yeah, I'm happy to talk about it and share it with others.
Yeah. So Wake Forest, I feel like it's one of the suburbs. If people are not familiar with it, it's the north part of Raleigh. So basically, downtown Raleigh heads into Midtown Raleigh, which then heads into North Raleigh, which then takes you to Wake Forest. So I feel like a lot of people look on a map and they think, man, Wake Forest is really far out there. I don't think I want to look into Wake Forest because it looks so far out on a map. I think that is one misconception that some people, have, just because geographically it looks like it's really far away. But really, there's no need to leave Wake Forest, like many of the other suburbs as well. But Wake Forest has everything you need. So it has shopping, it has groceries, it has parks and playgrounds, it has great schools, it has greenways. It's really close to Falls Lake, which a lot of people like, being close to, boating and things like that, fishing. And it just offers so much for so many people, from families to singles and everything in between. So, Laura, what did you find, I guess, what drew you to this area, or why do you like living here?
Yeah,
And things like that.
I think what you said is right. And I think what happens a lot is people coming from other like metro areas, they look at a map and they see kind of distance and mileage and it looks like it's really far, but because of the infrastructure, and honestly, our traffic is not that bad relative to other bigger cities of our size. It's not as far as you would think. Like I can get to downtown Raleigh in about 27 minutes. And I never really have a reason to go down there often.
Right.
But when I do, it's within 30 minutes pretty easily.
Yeah.
And, everything else I need is within 10 minutes.
Yeah.
I'm close to the Target, so like that's really all you need in life. But yeah, there's really very little reason that I find to even leave Wake Forest and go in past 540, which is our outer belt line in Raleigh. And if I do, I just make like a little trip of it and, hit a couple things on the way if I want to go shopping or meet a friend that I haven't seen in a while or something like that. So I just take a little bit more planning when I do that. But if you do have to go in often or if you work in the city, it's still within 30 minutes. Now,
right.
Rush hour, of course, can affect that. But yeah, I think it's a little misleading just to look at a map and feel like it's really far out because it doesn't feel that way at all.
No, it doesn't. I mean, I think one of the things that brought us to Wake Forest was, honestly, I grew up in the area. I lived in Cary, grew up in Cary. That's where my parents used to live. And my husband grew up by Crabtree Valley Mall, which, at the time was considered North Raleigh, and now it's considered Midtown Raleigh because that's how much growth we've seen. So he grew up there, and we met when we were young. So we were in middle school, and we spent a lot of time in the Raleigh area, North Hills, like that type of thing. And we bought our first house in North Raleigh, basically right at the 540 loop. I didn't even know Wake Forest existed for a long time. And then we bought our first house and we were like, well, let's go check out, what's around us, get to know the area, because we just bought this new house. We're trying to figure out all the cool stuff around us. And I ventured into Wake Forest and found it and was like, this is so much closer than I thought, and it has everything I need. And we basically got a lot more for our money. So when we ended up buying our next home, we sold our house in North Raleigh. We bought in Wake Forest. We got new construction. We were able to afford new construction, where in Raleigh we couldn't. It wasn't in our price range. And so that's why we considered, Wake Forest for the next house. And then we've bought and sold, I'm embarrassed to say it, but
a couple times.
3 houses since then. And every time we end up in Wake Forest. So, I mean, we choose this area. We love this area. I still drive to Cary often to see my parents and things like that, which it's a decent drive to Cary, I would say. Like, it's 40 minutes or so.
Yeah.
It's just an easy hop on the highway, which is nice. And really, that's the only time I go to Cary. And then the only time I go downtown is for Marvel's Kids Museum or for a date night at somewhere that's a little bit different, because Wake Forest has a lot of great restaurants and things that we just end up staying in Wake Forest. Like Over the Falls is one of our favorite restaurants in downtown. And we go to the bowling alley right there often with the kids. And, it's even a good place to just grab a drink or grab something to eat or something like that too. And downtown is super charming.
Yeah.
Well.
And we'll definitely hit on all those different areas. And I kind of come from a different perspective. I'm still in an apartment. I'm okay with that. That's where we're at in life. But, I don't have a family. I have my dog and my cat, and, I am single. So my lifestyle is very different than yours, but I still find everything that I want here.
Right.
Like, there's plenty of stuff to do with the dog. I actually just discovered a dog park that's 15 minutes away. I can take her to, like, a private dog park up in the farms, which, if I was in downtown Raleigh, I wouldn't have that opportunity.
Right.
Going to the lake is really cool. And I feel that there's a lot of, like, the young professional energy kind of coming into the area.
Mm-hmm.
So that, for me, being, still younger and single and social and all of those things, I think a concern sometimes is that there's not enough here for people like me.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's necessarily true. And again, if I wanted to go out, like I did go to downtown Raleigh last night, hung out at a bar sober because I'm that person, but it took 26 minutes to get there.
Right.
And it was fine. And I, totally, I felt like I went somewhere. Like, that's what I was saying to the girlfriend I was with. I'm like, I feel like we went somewhere. Like, we went and did something different.
Right.
And it's nice to not be around that all the time, because then when you do go, you feel like you did something special. It's like a special occasion.
Right.
So I just want to add that, from a non-family, we have a lot of family-oriented people moving here, but I do also see a lot of questions come up from young, single professionals, like, what does that lifestyle look like? And I just want to say that, like, I absolutely love it here. So I wanted to add that before we dove into, some of the specific things.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, for both, because I do see that question often a lot as well with people, singles, young professionals moving to the area. What area should I check out? And I definitely think the Wake Forest area is a place to consider.
Yeah, definitely. So you had kind of mentioned downtown. Let's start with that. So downtown Wake Forest, we have the historic district, we have the seminary school. Allison, you're probably a little more well-versed on it if you want to just kind of give like an overview of downtown, and then I'll add my 2 cents in.
Well, most of what I visit downtown for, like I said, is to go to Over the Falls, and I drop my kids off at preschool right at the seminary. So those are really the 2 reasons why I go downtown. But there's a lot of great things there. There's great shopping, small businesses, love to support local, so love to support small. There's a great burger shop. There's ice cream. Lumpy's ice cream is amazing. And they do, like, is it hormone free and like all natural and all those things at Lumpy's? And so we love going to Lumpy's. And then there's also Bodega. Am I saying it right? I know.
Bodega, whatever.
Yeah.
Bodega.
Yeah, right. And then the wine, the yoga too.
Yeah.
They have the
Unwind
yoga.
on White.
Yes, which is awesome. So we really love going to, pre-COVID, when they had the Friday Night on White, which brings me to White Street Brewing Company, which is really nice downtown too. But Friday Night on White, you know, when they do the band downtown and shut down White Street, which is the main road of downtown Wake Forest, and everyone kind of goes out and enjoys the weather and dances and brings all their food and drinks and everything like that, and we all kind of sit out and enjoy the weather and dance and things like that. So I think the downtown district is definitely charming and has a lot of fun stuff for everyone, all ages, to do.
So there's also the Renaissance Center, which has like theater, arts, things like that. So if you're into that, you don't have to go into Raleigh. They have a lot of really cool things that they do. And I also see a lot of people ask questions about vegan and plant-based, things like that. We just had Plant Cakes Bake Shop open up. So that's a vegan-based bakery, and I've had some of their products. I'm not vegan, but I'm dairy-free, egg-free, so I'm almost there when it comes to baked goods. They're awesome. They're really, really good. So there's definitely some things in Wake Forest where if you do have, you know, dietary restrictions, lifestyle choices, whatever that might be, there's starting to be more of that, which is really good. And I don't know if we'll talk about grocery stores, but I'm super passionate about grocery stores. You can get to Trader Joe's in 25 minutes. That's probably the furthest one I drive to. And we do have a Wegmans that's about to open in the next couple months. And then, of course, there's, you know, the Publix, Harris Teeter, Lowe's, all those other ones. But there are some specialty Sprouts as well. There are some specialty grocery stores. So just speaking about, you know, nutrition and lifestyle, there are some options there that are starting to pop up, which is really, really good.
Yeah, absolutely. And that was another blog that we recently posted about was the grocery stores, and not Wake Forest specifically, but in all the different suburbs of the Raleigh and the suburbs. So the one thing too is Costco, which that's by Trader Joe's in Raleigh. So that's probably a 25-minute drive as well. But yeah, Costco. We do have Sam's Club in Wake Forest, and I do all my grocery shopping online. So I'm not.
We have the internet in Wake Forest too for Allison.
We do. Yes, and Wake Forest has a great football team. Someone else said so. Yeah, Wake Forest High. And it's one thing, we can touch on is all the schools as well. So, but yeah, so grocery stores, you know, we have plenty of them. So you don't have to think that out in Wake Forest we don't have anywhere to shop, because there's definitely plenty to do. The other thing to talk about is our parks. So all the different parks and trails and greenways and things that we have, which they're great. Like Joyner Park is an amazing park full of trails and all kinds of stuff. For people.
And Joyner Park has a rec center as well, which I don't know where they're at with COVID, but I think it's $25 a year for residents. And it's like a workout facility with basketball courts. And I know they have like kids dance classes and things like that there. I'm sure those are extra, but you can utilize the facility and work out and just have some fun. $25 a year. I mean, that's incredible. And that's not even to mention all the outdoor stuff that they have, but the rec facility is really nice. We did the grand opening right before COVID, unfortunately.
I know.
With the chamber, and we got to go out and see it. And it's a beautiful facility.
Yeah, absolutely. And then too, with the park that's right outside the rec facility or playground, I guess I should say. We love to go there with the kids and kind of let them play. But then even if you want to just go on like a run or a bike ride, or, you know, enjoy the scenery of all the trees and green and different things like that, Joyner is an amazing place to go and check all that out.
Yeah. So I know we talked about restaurants just a little bit. We already talked about Bodega. Amelia's is another one that is locally owned. I actually did some work with them last year. And They're incredible. So they are authentic Italian food. So if that's your thing, they are like authentic. This ain't no Olive Garden. This is like the real deal.
They're real.
They import. I mean, it's incredible. They import everything. The owner and the head chef, he is from Italy. He's got family in it. Like he uses his grandma's recipe, like everything that you would expect. And that's a really great place for like special occasion, date night.
Yeah.
And it's in like this old house that's been there for freaking ever. I think 120 years old because I looked at it at one point.
Yeah.
We used to have carpet on the walls.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. But yeah, that's a really unique thing because people are always looking for authentic ethnic food. And so that's a really cool one that's right here in Wake Forest.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's also, which this is not Italian food, but the Thai food. I hear the Thai food right by Shuckers, which I'm drawing a blank on the name, but they have great Thai food. And then Shuckers is amazing as well. So that's another locally owned seafood restaurant, and they have an amazing patio, like outdoor patio that they have live music, of course, pre-COVID. So, one day we'll return, but
yeah,
it's a nice place to enjoy the weather and kind of sit outside and have a nice time listening to music and stuff like that. And the other place too is Dairy Depot. That's one of our favorite ice cream. Do they have dairy-free ice cream?
I don't know.
I'm pretty sure they.
A lot of places do now.
Yeah.
A lot of places do.
Yeah,
for lactose intolerant.
You need to find that. You need to find out.
Okay, I'll do some investigative work on the ice cream front.
Okay. And then,
so we did have a question come in about where's the closest shopping mall.
Yeah.
Depends on what you're looking for. If you want a mall, you're going to go to Crabtree. It'll take you about 30 minutes to get there. And that's kind of towards the inner belt line. So that's right on 440 and Creedmoor and Glenwood. So you can just go right down. Or you could go to South Point and Durham. So I believe that takes just a little bit longer depending on what side of town you're coming from. But South Point has the streets at South Point. So it's a little bit bigger. So they've got like outdoor dining, movie theater, all of that stuff. But Crabtree is usually where I go if I need to go to a mall. But depending on what stores you're looking for, like there's a Kohl's up here. Triangle Town Center is kind of hit or miss depending on what stores you're looking for. But I just went the other day because I went to DSW and Old Navy. I can go to Triangle Town Center, and that's about 20 minutes. Depending on where you're coming from. So it really just depends on what store you're looking for. But the biggest traditional, like still kind of thriving mall is going to be Crabtree.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we go to Crabtree on occasion for some things too, but we find the majority of stuff, like when I need makeup or something, I can go to Triangle Town Center and go to Ulta or Carter's or different things. We can go to Triangle Town Center, but Crabtree definitely has its own shopping experience. But then here in Wake Forest, we have so much as well that I really rarely find that I need to leave the area. Between Wake Forest and Amazon, I'm pretty covered.
I know, best of both worlds. We do actually have a lot of really good like boutique-y type shop that are not like super pricey.
Right.
So like Lily Mae's and So You Boutique. We have some mobile boutiques, like Beautiful Chaos. What's the other one called?
I know what you're talking about, but I don't remember the name.
I feel like a jerk for not remembering, but there's another one that's really good.
Yeah.
But we have definitely some budget-friendly boutiques as well that I would highly recommend. I mean, super cute, not your same old stuff everybody's going to be wearing. So that's, you can hit those up if you're looking for something special.
Yeah. An Arrow Tree boutique too. And
yes, Arrow Tree's good too.
Yeah, definitely. And Lily Mae's too is right by the factory, which is kind of a unique thing that's in the Wake Forest area, which the factory is kind of like an indoor sports complex. So they have like ice hockey, indoor soccer, basketball. They have a skate park, but I don't know if it's open. And a lot of people enjoy going there. They have Go2 Fitness inside the factory, so people go in that gym. It's just kind of a fun place. I know a few years ago we went to an event there. They did a special thing for trick-or-treaters, you know, in the factory. So that was kind of fun. Of course, that was pre-COVID. Everything is pre-COVID. So just
it's coming back. Speak it into existence. It's coming back.
Yeah, right. And then too, right by the factory is Gonza's, which is an amazing Mexican restaurant. It's delicious. And the Village Grill, which is good as well. We're talking about a lot of food.
I know, you're making me hungry.
I know.
But no, there's a lot of, it's one of those places where everything's not like right in your face, but like once you get a little familiar, and I mean, that's one of the perks of working with a realtor, of course, and that's not a plug, but that's like, honestly, like if you're trying to figure out if you want to live somewhere, Wake Forest is one of those places where like, you don't think there's anything there until you actually get there and start talking to someone that lives there. And then you're like, oh yeah, like just like we're doing. Oh, and then this, and oh, I forgot about this. Like yeah, that place. Like there's a lot here. There's a lot here. And I think what's happening now too is Youngsville, Rollsville, Franklinton, and Lewisburg are starting to blossom. So we kind of get to tap into that because, you know, we're the most inward of those cities. So as those grow and as those add commercial, retail, whatnot, you can kind of tap into all of those. And that might sometimes be closer than driving down into Raleigh.
Absolutely.
Depending on what you're looking for. So you also get the benefit of the growth that's happening around you. Whereas in Raleigh, it's kind of like, it is what it is. Like there's literally nowhere else to do anything.
Yeah, no, that's true. And now, I mean, one of the things too is, you know, Wake Forest, basically US 1 is a driving highway that takes you in and out. And there's plans for that to turn into a super highway. So with those changes, I can see Wake Forest even blooming even more than it already has. And then all these other surrounding suburbs also are going to feel the effects of the what we're seeing in Wake Forest as well. So definitely. So, I mean, one of the things that I love about Wake Forest area as well is the trees. So just how many trees, green we have. I know some people say it's almost so dense that you don't know where you are, which it's kind of different because when you're driving around, you know, you feel lost a lot of times, but usually right around the corner.
And that's why you can't find anything because you're like, where am I? I feel like I should see cows and then there's a Target.
Exactly. Yeah. But there's Target and Starbucks and all these great places. So even though it feels like you're in the middle of nowhere, you're really not. And you kind of get the beauty of the nature and the outdoors and, you know, get to enjoy the biking and the hiking and all the things that make the people love Raleigh, you know, and all of that is in Wake Forest or very close to Wake Forest with like the Neuse River Trail and Forest Ridge. There's biking trails and things like that there, and Falls Lake. And
and what's unique about Falls Lake, you know, and of course as things develop, some people will say, oh, they're taking down all the trees. Yes, they have to take down some to develop, but still comparatively it's still gorgeous. But Falls Lake is owned by the Army Corps of Engineers. So what that means is it's protected. Like people can't buy land on it, build on it. Like it is so protected. Whereas some of the other lakes in the other areas, you know, they're either privately owned or developers own right up to the water line. You know, there's all different situations with that. So with Falls Lake being protected the way that it is and having all of the parks that are already in place, you know that that's going to be like that for a long time. Which is really nice because you know that's not going to get overcrowded, overdeveloped, and it's going to be something that you can enjoy for a long time to come if you live close to it.
Yeah, absolutely. The other thing too to consider, because I kind of like split Wake Forest. Wake Forest has one zip code and it spreads upon the entire part. So all the way from east of like basically Roseville to the west side, which is basically North Raleigh. Like it's a very wide line across that spans the whole way. And I feel like the east side of Wake Forest is a totally different vibe to it than the west side of Wake Forest. So I call like the west side more like country, like chic. I don't know. Yeah, you kind of get the pros of larger lots and more land and more spacing and more trees, but you're still 10 minutes from a Target. And then the east side is more like heritage area. So, you know, more has more greenway. It has very close, like walkable places. Like if you wanted to walk, you could walk to grocery stores and different places like that.
Yeah.
But one of the things too, which made me think of that, was the zoning. So basically, the west side of Wake Forest, because it's watershed protected as well with Falls Lake, they will never develop that as the same way as the east side of Wake Forest will be developed.
Right.
So,
they literally can't.
right, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's a good thing to be aware of too when you're purchasing land or a house over there, knowing the zoning restrictions. I mean, obviously we look at it as realtors, but
Right.
just for anybody listening that might be looking, that's another thing a realtor should be helping you with is knowing those zonings, because there are watershed restrictions.
Yep.
So if you want to buy a piece of land and put an in-law suite on the back of it, you may not be able to, and that's okay, because it's helping to preserve that land.
Yeah.
But it's just a good thing to be aware of.
Yeah, absolutely. And, the other thing too to think about is like apartment complexes or multifamily or condos and townhouses. Those are basically can't be built on the west side of Wake Forest just because of the zoning restrictions. So
Right.
You're going to see more of that, master plan communities and things like that on the east side with the smaller lots and the pools and the community amenities and stuff, whereas the west side is going to be more like an acre lot with a septic system and a community well. So it's totally different. It's two different vibes, but basically Wake Forest has both options and offers something for everyone.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I think that in the last 5 minutes we should hit on neighborhoods, just very generally speaking. We've kind of hinted at a few, but just speaking to kind of what the major ones are, how they're oriented, and that'll kind of give people a place to start, I guess, if they're looking.
Yeah, absolutely. So I would say Heritage is the kind of the hub of the Wake Forest area, which that has basically on the east side of Wake Forest, very close to all the shopping. So like Publix, Wegmans, all of that is Heritage area. If you're looking for new construction, there's a lot of stuff going in just south of Heritage, which is like Bridgeport, Stonewater. There's a new development coming in 2020. What year are we in? 2022.
2021.
Yeah, 2022 next year is a new development is coming in Wake Forest. I think it's called the Regency at Heritage. So that's a new one coming. Traditions is just north of Heritage, which is it's the same developer as Heritage, but it's newer. So it has kind of the same vibe and things like that. All those have great amenities, pool, playgrounds, greenway access.
Those are your traditional master plan, all inclusive.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And so I actually live over in Wakefield, which Wakefield kind of straddles Raleigh and Wake Forest.
Yep.
And the Wakefield area has been around for a while, but what I love about it is that it is a master community, if you'll say. It's actually on Wakefield Golf Course, Wakefield Country Club. That's what it branches off of. And so it's beautiful, but it has everything from apartments to townhouses to multi-million-dollar homes.
Yep.
So I'm in the apartments, but like when I go out to take my dog to walk, I can go through and I can go past all the townhouses. I can go into neighborhoods. We can walk on the golf course. It's very unique. Like you don't see that a lot where a community has like from $1,000 a month rent to a $5 million house within like throwing a rock and hitting it. So it's really, really cool to be in a community like that where you can kind of grow within it. Like, who's to say that when I am ready to purchase, like I don't just buy something right down the road and I'm like, I already know I love living here.
Right.
So it gives you kind of step up options, and it also gives you downsize options if you're, in a different stage of life. But I love Wakefield and I can't say enough good stuff about it. I've had a few clients buy and sell in here as well. They've gotten great appreciation on their properties, which in an older neighborhood, that's really good to still be appreciating like that. But yeah, Wakefield is one of the ones I would definitely recommend.
Yeah, absolutely. And I would say Hazen Tree is another big one on the west side of Wake Forest with the, has the same type of amenities. So as Wakefield and Heritage, because Heritage is a golf club community as well. But it's a nice golf course community, has a pool, playground. They do different events for kids. fun stuff like that. And it's the same thing. They have multi-million-dollar houses down to now the smallest houses. They don't have townhomes, but they have basically the villas, which are really more for like 55 plus is what they're kind of sought after.
Right.
But anyone can live there.
Yeah.
But they have the villas, and it's a really nice area as well. So Hazen Tree is a great one. And then also, I mean, there's all kinds of neighborhoods off Thompson Mill.
Yeah.
In Wake Forest. There's Kimberly. There's Wexford. There's Blanton's Creek, what's currently being built. Prescott Manor is currently being built. It's a lot of new construction on the west side of Wake Forest. And then if you go into Roseville, you have options as well. So
So as somebody who has bought and sold 3,000 times in the past 5 years, Allison, like what do you see personally in terms of appreciation, and then also with your clients? Like, let's just talk about like value and where you see 5-10 years if someone's looking to make a good investment on their property.
Yeah. I mean, I think the Wake Forest area, honestly, anywhere in Wake Forest is a good place to buy.
Yeah.
You definitely will see Roseville, I think, is the next kind of up and coming area next to Wake Forest. They're building a lot, basically right on the Wake Forest Roseville line. New developments are coming. I think that's going to be kind of the next booming area, as well as Youngsville. So I think basically those two parts. I think Wake Forest has seen a lot of appreciation already. I think it'll continue to appreciate, just like Cary did 20 years ago. My parents bought Cary for $240,000, and now their house is worth double that. I think Wake Forest will kind of see that same thing. But if you want to get more bang for your buck, if you go a little further north or a little further east, I think you'll find that you'll get even better for your money, get more for your money, and you'll see more appreciation as well.
Yeah, I could not agree more. And, obviously I'm partial to it because I live here, but also just from a real estate perspective, I agree. Like, I think for 300,000 what you get in Wake Forest and 300,000 what you get in Raleigh is just
right.
You can almost get double the house depending on where you're looking. And for me, like, I don't ever want anyone to be house poor. So to make a decision that's going to give them still a really good quality of life, but in a reasonable price range and that has decent appreciation. I think it kind of ticks off all those boxes, and more people just need to be aware that it's a good place to live.
Yeah, it absolutely is. I think, every suburb in the Raleigh area has its own pros and cons. And I think a lot of people automatically write off Wake Forest just because geographically what it looks like on a map, it looks really far out. But I think it's some place that would be, good for everyone to kind of consider for their new home in the area. So anything else we should add?
No, I think we hit enough things.
Yeah.
If people do have questions, they can post them below this stream even after it's broadcast. We'll post the link to the blog article just so you can quick reference it from here instead of going back and having to look for it. And we plan to do more videos like this on the different areas, bringing people that, have lived there. We have a lot of agents on our team that can offer, different geographical areas of expertise. Allison and I just both happen to be in Wake Forest, but that's how we met. So that's great. But we'll provide that information to you, and we plan on continuing to do these for all the different areas just to offer you some insight and help guide you through that decision, because it's a lot. It's overwhelming.
It is. And the other thing too to talk about was the YouTube channel. So a new video will be coming. It should be launching tomorrow for the YouTube channel. And it's going to have basically all the scenery and the top spots in Wake Forest that you should check out. So make sure, if you haven't already subscribed to the Realtor Experience YouTube channel, to go ahead and do that, because we're going to have videos for each suburb coming out. And with the launching of the videos, we'll also do these live streams to share info, answer questions, give you more information about everything that you see in the blogs and the videos. So
and that's going to include information about schools, neighborhoods, extracurriculars, new construction. We're launching some content about new construction. So make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel, because that's going to be an invaluable resource for you.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Laura, for joining me
Thank you.
and talking. And we'll do this again next week.
Okay, sounds great.
Okay, all right. I'll see you later.
All right, thanks for
All right.
tuning in, guys. Have a good night.
Thank you. All right, bye-bye.
Bye.